Hey, if you're a player that really struggles with your backhand volley, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 tips that can help to give you more confidence on your backhand volley by adding control, precision, and a bit of power as well. So if that sounds like it's going to help your tennis, stay tuned till the end of the video. Let's go. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ashley Neves and I run the Tennis Mentor YouTube and Instagram accounts, providing coaching content and other content for players, coaches and parents to get more out of the sport. Now, as I mentioned, today we're going to be looking at the backhand volley in particular. Now, the reason I've put this video together on the backhand volley is because I come across loads of players that feel like their backhand volley is their weakness when they get to the net. Now, you've probably seen tons of videos on the volley before saying that you should use the chopper grip or the continental grip on your volley. And they're not wrong. The benefit of using the chopper grip is it allows you to hit with the same grip on both your forehand and backhand volleys. The benefit of having the same grip is you can save time. So when you have very little time and your opponent's hitting the ball quite hard against you, you have the ability to change between your forehand and backhand super quickly. Now, if you're playing at a level where you have a little bit more time on each volley, which generally at club level you do, then there is nothing wrong with using a slightly different grip between your forehand and backhand volley. This can help to give you a little bit more strength and stability when you hit the ball. However, if making the grip change itself is difficult for you, then I would definitely stick to the chopper grip. Now, what I really wanted to talk about with regards to grip is not actually whether you're using a continental grip or an Eastern grip or an Eastern backhand. It was more to do with the position of your hand on the grip. And something that I use with lots of players that normally works really well is actually choking the grip up slightly, moving your hand up to halfway up the grip. Now, by holding the grip slightly higher up, it's going to give you a lot more stability over your volley. And what it actually does as well is it restricts your movements. As you should know, you shouldn't really swing when you're at the net volleying. You want to keep your swing nice and compact. And by choking the racket up, it makes your racket slightly shorter, allowing you to have more control, more stability, and really restricting the amount that you swing the racket. Now, I don't just recommend this for club players. Actually, I recommend it to high level players as well. If you watch how Rafael Nadal volleys, he's really improved his volley over the last 10 years or so. And he's one of the best volleyers in the game now. And he actually chokes the racket up as well. So next time you're practicing your volleys, consider choking the racket up, moving slightly higher up the grip, like so, and see if that helps to give you a bit more feel and a bit more control. The second thing is a necessity when it comes to how you hold the racket when you volley, and it's making sure that you use what we call the trigger finger. So as you can see here, I've got a small gap in between my index finger and my middle finger. Now, if you hold your racket like this, like a club, you don't have very much feel and very much opportunity to maneuver the racket when you're at the net. By spreading out your fingers slightly more and having your knuckles at a diagonal like this, it's really going to help you to get better feel, better stability, and a much more crisp feeling when you make contact with the ball. Now, if you're playing doubles, the good news is most of the time when you're at the net, you're actually starting at the net like so. So if you know that you're likely to hit a volley, you can start with that grip slightly higher straight away. If you're playing at the baseline and you're making your way into the net, you may need to make that grip change as you make your way forwards. So that's just something extra to consider if you're choking up the racket when you hit your volleys. Now, the second tip revolves around probably the most common mistake I see players make on their backhand volley, and it's using your offhand. Now, your offhand or your non-dominant hand plays a vital role when it comes to hitting your backhand volley. What I see lots of players doing is from their ready position, as soon as the ball comes to their backhand side, they take their non-dominant hand off the racket straight away, leaving only their dominant hand on the racket. Now, the problem with this is as soon as you let go with your offhand, the racket can move in lots of directions and it can become a little bit wristy. By keeping your offhand on the racket for slightly longer, it's going to help to keep your racket much more stable. What I like to teach on the backhand volley that can really help is actually thinking about preparing your racket using your offhand. So as soon as you see that ball coming in towards you, think about placing your racket behind the ball using your offhand. That's going to set the racket in a nice stable position, allowing you to step in and punch that volley. So I'll show you again. If that ball is coming to my backhand side here, I'm going to make use of my offhand to place the racket behind the ball, ready to step in and to punch that volley away. You should only release your offhand as your racket starts to make its way forwards. Try your best to keep that offhand on the racket in your preparation phase. When it comes to setting your racket as well, something else that's good to consider is making sure that you're not setting your racket in an upward position here or in a sideways position, but try to keep your racket at a nice diagonal. Around 45 degrees is good. Keeping your racket head above your wrist is vital for a nice, strong, punchy volley. Now, my final tip revolves around trying to avoid being wristy on your backhand volley. Something I see a lot when I see people hitting their backhand volleys. What we really want to try to avoid is our racket head dropping as we make contact with the ball. Ideally, when we prepare that racket in that 45-degree angle, we want to try to keep our swing very minimal and very compact. So by trying to keep that racket head up as we make contact with the ball is going to be much more controlled than if we let that racket head drop. Something that can help you with that is to try to think about squeezing your shoulder blades together. So if you imagine your shoulder blades at the back here, as you make contact with your backhand volley, you want to split your hands, squeezing your shoulder blades together at the back. Now, when you make that split to make contact with the ball, it's going to be a compact movement. We're not splitting like this. This will allow us to keep a nice crisp volley and to make sure that our racket face is pointing to our target for as much time as possible. If we swing too far, you can see here that my racket face is pointing the wrong direction. So by splitting and keeping your hands fairly close to each other, that's going to allow you to keep those strings pointing your desired target. Some of those tips you may have heard before, but sometimes a little reminder can help. Some of those tips you might not have heard before, and it's definitely worth giving a go if you struggle with your backhand volley. Personally, as a coach, the two tips that I feel work the best with the players that I've worked with are holding the racket slightly higher up the grip with that trigger finger and making better use of your offhand to set the racket behind the ball. So if in doubt, give those two tips a try. So next time you have a practice session, whether it's with a ball machine or a hitting partner, get your partner to feed you as many backhand volleys as possible so that you can really practice those tips. As always, if you've got any questions about the video, let me know in the comments below, or if there are any other shots that you really struggle with, let me know and I'll try to make a video on that topic. Thanks as always for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.